Hey, welcome everyone to a review of the Bose QuietComfort Ultra Earbuds. Now if you want to see the written version of this review, you can find it to my website in the video description. So these were released here in late 2023, and you might be wondering how it compares to the predecessor, the older version, the QuietComfort 2. That's right, the previous version is QuietComfort 2, and these are just QuietComfort. It's as if they're going backwards in naming convention. You would think that Sony and Bose are in direct competition with one another, which they are when it comes to audio equipment like earbuds. Except now they're in direct competition with one another on who can name their devices in the worst way. Yeah, I went there. So a quick recap as to what's different is that these new versions compared to QuietComfort 2, the new version now has immersive audio, which I'll talk about later. It also has Qualcomm aptX technology, which I'll briefly touch on later on. It also supports Google Fast Pairing, which basically means if you were to say connect it with your Android Google device, sync it to your Google account, the next time you have another Google device, it'll automatically recognize these and prepare it in advance for you, which is more of just a cool, nice to have feature. For pricing, here in Canada is priced at $379, whereas the United States is priced in at $299. For connectivity, it's only using Bluetooth technology and it's supporting Bluetooth 5.3, which is one of the latest versions of the technology. That's really important when it comes to the immersive technology, which again I'll talk about later on. And according to Bose, it supports a range of about 30 feet from your audio source. In my testing, I got the same range, but with one wall in between, so I got a little bit better than what Bose claims. There is a huge letdown when it comes to connectivity. At this pretty expensive price tag, it does not, I repeat, it does not support multi-connect, which basically would have meant you can connect it to your computer and cell phone at the same time. You're playing audio on your computer. If your cell phone rings, you can pause it, answer the call, and you're good to go. You can't do that. You can only connect to one device at a time, which is a huge bummer. In terms of how many devices you can keep in memory before having to, pair them and make them learn how to connect with that device once again, Bose doesn't have the information listed anywhere, but in my testing I was able to get 4 devices. In the tiny box it comes out of, there are a fair number of accessories included. 3 pairs of stability bands, 3 pairs of ear tips, small, medium, and large, the medium already being on the earbuds themselves, a USB-A to USB-C cable measuring in at 12 inches. Unfortunately, it's not pure USB-C. The charging case itself, but no charging adapter, which is pretty typical in today's day and age. You'll have to use one from, say, your cell phone or plug it in directly to a computer, which is I typically do. Given its price tag, it's not the best and most attractive looking earbuds. It's a little bland, mainly due to the center gray color. I mean, it's not that they're terrible to look at, it's just at this price point they could have looked a little better. At the end of the day, the most important thing to keep in mind is that they're earbuds. They're pretty small, so it's not like they're going to stand out that much to begin with. The particular model that I'm reviewing is obviously the black version, but it also comes in white smoke. The funny thing about both color options is that the center of the earbud body has that gray, dull looking color. The design of the earbud supports a small stem extension, but overall still a decent compact design that still stays encompassed within that shape of your ear. The case looks generic. Nothing wrong here, it's just very simple. My one complaint is that the case is too tall. So if you're taking the case in your pocket and you already have, say, your car keys, a wallet, and a cell phone, and you're wearing some tight jean pockets, it's not going to be the most comfortable feeling. The case itself opens from the top and has earbuds fit right in from the top. There's an LED indicator on the front of the case for the battery charge of the case itself, and another LED indicator inside the case for other types of statuses, for example when the earbuds are in pairing mode. Now for comfort, they are a pleasure. I've had them on for about 3 hours at a time per each testing session. They feel very good in the ears, don't disturb me at all. My ears didn't get irritating, but again, the most important thing to keep in mind is that there are different ear tip fittings available. Now when it comes to wearing them with glasses, they also feel great. Because the earbuds are so tiny, they don't actually kind of poke on the top of your earbud lobe, so the frame of your glasses are able to rest nicely. And it's great that you have the various ear tip fittings because you want to get the right perfect snug fit. Why is that important? Because it'll get you the true potential of the audio quality playing out and ensuring you get the best performance of ANC, active noise cancelling. But how do you know if they're sitting correctly in your ears? Well, there's actually a feature in the app itself that when you go through a test cycle, it's really quick, only a few seconds long, it'll kind of detect if they're resting within your ears snug for you to get the best performance, and that app feature works pretty well. Given the heavy price tag, most people would assume it's designed mainly for traveling, which I'll cover more in noise cancelling, but might be concerned about ruining them while working out. Well, in my testing, it actually worked fairly well despite what angle my head was at. They're actually very comfortable to wear. To be honest, I didn't really notice they were on half the time I was working out. They are IPX4 water resistant, so they're good for splashing water conditions such as running in the rain perhaps, but they should not be submerged underwater. There are official replacement ear tips available from the Bose website. I haven't seen any from third-party manufacturers just yet, but that's probably because these earbuds are still fairly new. I'm sure it's going to change very shortly. The controls on the earbuds are 100% touch-based, no physical button usage. And out of the box, they have some preset controls. So tapping either earbud will allow you to play pause content or answer or hang up a call. Double tap for next track. Triple tap for previous track, swipe up for volume up, swipe down for volume down. There are some custom but limited preset commands you can apply to either earbud when you're pressing and holding it for about 2 seconds. Out of the box, what that basically does when you do it for 2 seconds, it'll cycle between ANC mode, which is active noise cancelling, transparency mode, which allows noise from around you to travel into the microphones of the earbuds and force it into your ears so you can hear surroundings more easily, or immersive mode, which I'll cover later on. One of those custom features that you can set when long pressing it for a few seconds is activating your smart assistant. I tested it with Google Assistant on Android and it worked pretty good. There is side tone available, which is the same concept as transparency mode, so you can hear your surroundings while you're on a phone call, and you can also hear your own voice. That's designed purposely so that you can actually tell if it's too noisy on your call for other people to hear you when you're in, say, a noisy environment. Passive pay pause is available straight out of the box, which basically means that when you have the earbuds on, your media will play just fine. When you take the earbuds off, it'll automatically pause your content. Putting the earbuds back on will automatically resume content. Now that feature works very well. One weird thing is that if I turn that feature off in the app, that feature still remains on. I think it's a bug, and I'm pretty sure and hope Bose could just quickly fix it with a quick firmware update. Okay, so there are probably two components of this review most people are concerned with: ANC performance and audio. Well, here's ANC. It's great, man. It's one of the best I've ever heard, whether it be noise cancelling over the ear headphones or truly wireless earbuds. This is one of the best I've ever used. When it comes to low humming sounds, but at a very loud volume, like say you were in a car, you're literally standing next to the furnace here in the fall. Like, I kid you not, I'm literally standing right next to it. It's super loud in our furnace room. It cancels out majority of that noise. So if you're going to be traveling on an airplane, these will work fantastic for you. You will not be disappointed. But that's kind of a given with ANC technology, low humming frequency sounds. What really surprised me is how good it is canceling vocals. So when I was in a room full of people and they're all chatting away, it muffled out a lot of the noise. It really suppressed it tremendously. One of the best I've ever heard on any audio equipment device I've ever used. Absolutely superb. So if you're traveling on a bus, you go through bus stations often or train station often, you listen to podcasts, you really have to understand what's being said. This is going to work fantastic for you. Transparency mode, no exception here. Phenomenal performance. I noticed that when it comes to people being within 20 feet of me, which is a fair amount of distance, I can still hear them almost crystal clear. Let's put it this way. When I had transparency mode on and I had people about 16, 17 feet away from me, sounded crystal clear. And they were continuing to talk nonstop. And when I took the earbuds off, I didn't notice a difference. That's how clear these were when it comes to transparency mode. One of the best I've ever heard on any audio piece of equipment. But here is a major catch. I cannot believe Bose had this phenomenal performance with transparency and ANC and really messed the mark here. There's no regular earbud mode. So basically you can't just turn off ANC or transparency mode, just regular earbud mode to extend the battery life. Not available. I'm hoping Bose changes that with the firmware update, but don't be surprised if they don't. That's just typical Bose style. Not a fan of why they do that, but unfortunately that's the case. Okay, battery. So there's some good and bad here. Let's start with the bad. The earbud charge. So per full charge of the earbuds, Bose claims about 6 hours. That's not a lot. If you're traveling from, say, here to the UK, the flight alone is 6 hours. That doesn't count for cab ride, security check-in, waiting for your plane, waiting to take off, landing. That almost accumulates to 10 hours. So the de facto should have been about 8 hours per earbud charge, right? So going back, Bose claims ANC technology will last you about 6 hours per earbud battery charge. In multiple battery drain and recharging tests, I averaged 6.7 hours, so a little bit better than Bose's claim. When it comes to transparency mode, again, Bose claims 6 hours. I was able to average more like 7.1 hours. So slightly better than Bose's claim once again. For immersive listening mode, Bose claims 4 hours of usage, and my testing averaged closer to 3.5 hours. When it comes to recharging the earbuds themselves, I always average about 90 minutes, so pretty good, not too bad. And how do you charge the earbuds? It's as I demonstrated earlier, you just open up the top, slide the earbuds in, and that's it, it starts charging. When it comes to recharging the case itself, Bose claims 2 hours, and I got pretty much the same result as them. So to charge the case, it's a USB-C charging port located at the bottom of the case. One more bummer at this price tag, it does not support wireless charging. Unfortunately, it must use a wired connection. Okay, so here's a weird part I mentioned originally about the battery charge. Bose claims on their website that you'll get 4 full cycle charges from the charging case. So 24 hours total, basically, with this case fully charged and then the earbuds fully charged within it. I got more than that. So I got the full 4 charges, right? But on a 5th charge, I was like, let me see what happens. And I got 4.1 hours on a 5th charge, which Bose does not claim or mention anything about. I then tried it on a 6th charge and I got 5.1 hours. And that's when the case is like, nope, I'm done. I'm not charging these anymore. So if you look at the Bose website on fine print in tiny little writing, it specifically says you get 4 full charges with the earbud case. It doesn't say anything about a partial 5th and a partial 6th charge, which is actually a good thing for the consumer. You're getting more performance than you anticipated if you don't read the fine print. I'm not sure why it doesn't just give you a 5th full charge. It could accomplish that. I'm not sure if Bose has purposely restrained it in some manner, but hey, at least you know now. Okay, so I'm going through my usual microphone test. All audio that you hear right now is from the Ultra earbuds. In a quiet setting, we're going to switch over to a noisy setting and then have the camera microphone pick up everything so you kind of hear how bad it is. And then switch over to the Ultra earbuds to see if you can isolate a lot of background noise. You can make a judgment call for yourself as to what you think in terms of, is it good at suppressing a lot of background noise and how clear my voice is. And then finally, we're going to replicate a windy scenario. Okay, so what you hear right now is from the camera microphone. As you can tell, it's really noisy in here. It's a bit difficult to hear me. Switching over to the Ultra earbuds, make a judgment call for yourself as to what you think in terms of noise background cancellation. And let's stop talking for a few seconds so you can hear what it's like. And now lastly, I'm replicating a windy scenario with the fan sitting about 5 feet away from me in that direction. And kind of see for yourself what you think as to how it performs with isolating wind noise out. So the next interesting thing along with ANC is audio quality. So for codecs, it supports SBC and AAC, and it does also support aptX. In my testing, I've noticed almost no latency. So aptX seems to be doing its job. Very great connectivity there. So the audio quality at the box at this price point was a little lackluster. Overall, I found it a little dull. It wasn't terrible, just kind of boring for this price tag. But it's the equalizer that saved everything and is phenomenal. There's an equalizer built in the app, which I'll demonstrate very shortly. So here's the funny thing. The QuietComfort noise cancelling over-the-ear headphones from Bose, which released the same day as these, are $100 more expensive in Canada. And those over-the-ear headphones are also $50 more expensive in the USA. So these are cheaper than the headphones. But these perform better in terms of audio quality, especially when it comes to bass. The QuietComfort headphones were really lacking in bass. These do wicked awesome. So in the equalizer, when I increase the bass, it gets really deep and really rumbling, especially with certain rap songs. The funny thing is when I increase the bass substantially with heavy-hitting bass-centric rap songs, it didn't distort the audio. It always sounded crystal clear. Mids and highs never suffered either. It was just the perfect balance of how I like it, myself being a bass enthusiast. Increasing mids, same thing, is that the vocals come out very clear. They stand out very nicely. They don't overbear anything else. Although certain songs, when you increase the mids a bit too high, the S sound, the syllabus gets a bit too sharp, but you can always just decrease the mids a little bit. Increasing the highs were perfect as well. Brought a lot more energy to certain songs if it was the right one. They weren't overbearing, it didn't distort bass or mids by any means, and it didn't make things too sharp. Some equalizer, when you increase the highs a bit too high, gets a bit too sharp for my ears, which you can always decrease, but in this case, it never happened. Overall, the equalizer is what makes these truly shine. So immersive audio. I mentioned I was going to talk about that earlier, so we'll cover it now. So one of the main features of immersive audio, there's 2 different options available. One is motion tracking. So basically, let's pretend the camera that I'm recording from is the source of the audio device connected to the QuietComfort Ultra earbuds. Well, what happens is that when you turn that function on, as I turn around, it'll try to make it so that the sound is coming from the camera. And when I turn this way, the sound is always coming from the camera, as if the camera was speakers in real life, and every time I turn around, it'll have sound come from there. It's a little neat, but there's also some problems here. The first is that the audio kind of has like a bit of a reverb effect. It's not crystal clear anymore. It kind of slightly degrades the sound quality. The second problem is that as I tried to walk around a room when I was recording camera for a different video, I noticed that it kind of skips like half a second, just quick. And I think it's because it's trying to process where I'm moving and it kind of bottlenecks, and then the signal doesn't know what to do at that point. So overall, I found it to be more of a gimmick. I personally don't use it. Okay, so diving into the Bose app, we're gonna go over to the Ultra earbuds, and as you can see, what it does is give a status in regards to each earbud's battery percentage. So quickly diving into modes is basically, as I mentioned, you have quiet and aware mode, immersion mode. You can set up some custom ones if you want to based on some templates, and from here you can adjust the noise canceling. The problem that I find with this is that if you want to adjust noise canceling levels, like how much ANC you want, you can't just quickly do it from the app. You have to go to your custom profile and then adjust it from there. It's a very manual process for some annoying reason. Source is which device you want to connect to that you have in previous memory. Equalizer, again, main thing here is bass, mids, and highs. Now, a lot of people might find this a little disappointing that's not a full-blown equalizer, but to be honest, this is exactly what you'll need to get the most quality of your earbuds. It works just fine and well, as I mentioned during the audio quality section. Immersive audio, as I touched based on, it has two different modes. One is off, is not really a mode, but the other one is still, and the other one is motion detect. I find it to be more of a gimmick. Shortcuts is what I mentioned earlier, that you can have some preset custom commands. It's very limited what you can do on the left or right earbud when you press and hold it for about 2 seconds. These are the options that you have available. Tips is kind of like a built-in manual guide, if you will, on things on how you can use the earbuds, the case, and certain quick commands. Now going over to the gear icon, this is where you have things like, say, naming your device, firmware updates, if you will, the earbud seal test, which I mentioned earlier, which works pretty well to see if it is fitting within your ears snug for the best performance. And the rest of it, some of it is already in the main screen. It's just a repeat menu. Self voice is a side tone option I mentioned earlier when you're on phone calls. And that's pretty much it for the most important things. These are some pretty darn good earbuds. They have some great qualities to them. Audio quality, especially with an equalizer adjusted to your personal taste. Noise canceling for people that travel often, but then that's exactly the trade-off. If you travel often, especially on a plane, the battery's not that great. You can't have multi-connect. There's no wireless charging. It's just these weird trade-offs. I don't know why they did this. But that's a wrap for this review. If you found it useful, be sure to check out my website and social media links in the video description. Hit the like button, it does help. Subscribe, and thanks for watching.